Hello, and welcome to another Dose of Candor with Jay and Lee. Today, we are going to be talking about team sports. So I've played a lot of team sports. Like when I was in elementary, I did like cheer and basketball. When I was in middle school, I did like volleyball, basketball, and track. And then when I moved up to high school, I did soccer, cross country, and track. I couldn't do swimming or softball or volleyball in high school because they would only let us do like one sport a season. So unless your coach gave you permission to do the other sport, then you had to pick. So that's why like in high school, I got to a point where I like had to pick and choose. But
okay, show off.
I was just very, very active. But I had a lot of like really good experiences with my team sports. I think it's just the camaraderie that you have when you're like a team. But you obviously like in a lot of mine, like volleyball and soccer and stuff like that, you're all vying to win, especially basketball too. Like you have to work together. But Jay, you said you have had like a pretty toxic experience with the one sport that you have done.
It still counts.
No, it still counts. I'm just saying like you just had a pretty bad experience.
Yeah, well, with the cheer team I was on, because I did cheer, but when I did the middle school cheer team, it wasn't even like toxic at all, because I feel like all of us were friends in some sort of way, even though I was doing it when I was in 7th grade. And I don't know if this is just me, but when I was like in 7th grade and 8th grade, I was friends with like the kids in the grade level below me and above me. Especially like when I got to 8th grade, I was friends with like your 6th graders and then like 7th graders.
Yeah. Wait, did you cheer for the school?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I only thought that you cheered for like the city team.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, so that's why I was like, it's definitely different.
So did you have a better experience cheering at school than you did for the city team?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no hate to some of the girls who were on it that, like, weren't. What's a word I could use?
I know you're trying to, like, be nice or you're trying to not be as mean as you probably could be about it.
I'm trying not to use curse words.
Right.
Who weren't as, like, rude and
okay, so did they have like a superiority complex, like where they thought they were better than everybody else, or because that's my experience with cheerleaders that I knew is like a lot of them like thought they were better than everybody else.
And I mean, like I said, it wasn't even the coach's daughters who were like, oh yeah, I'm better than everybody else. Mm-hmm. If anything, I feel like a lot of the coach's daughters were like trying to get everybody else to work together,
to be like a cohesive unit. Yeah. Well, yeah, because you guys went to competitions, right?
Yeah, we went to competition. And it's so funny because, like, obviously the year after I finished. So they have, like, with that, like local teams and stuff, they have, like, your regular, like, competition season from basically where you're, like,
Hebla who?
Football games didn't start until the school year started. So school started, obviously, early August. So from June up until like football like started to where like you were actually like cheering at the football games, that was all practice. But what was weird is that the football players didn't start when the cheerleaders started.
That's where I remember when I did soccer. I mean, we pretty much like practiced all summer, even though soccer season was like the fall season. Like, I mean, all summer we were going to practices.
Yeah. And
our football team was always out practicing too during the summer.
Yeah.
Like there was no time off.
Well, yeah, because in high school, that's when like the football players start practicing and stuff.
They get more and more serious.
Yeah. But so we did like the regular season. So that basically from June all the way until like late October, early November, depending on, because I know for the last competition I did, we actually got invited to that competition. Mm-hmm. So it extended to like November 14th, 15th. It was one of those days. And then they do spring cheer, which is basically obviously during the springtime.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting because like I feel like there was an evolution in how they picked the cheer teams, because I know when I first started high school, there was just one cheer squad. But I think like throughout the years, there were so many parents complaining that their kids were not making the squads. Because I think I told you this before, in my hometown, literally, the moms who were in charge of the cheerleading squad were picking their own kids and their kids' friends. Like they weren't picking off performance, they were picking off who knew who. So it's interesting because by the time I was a senior, they actually started having 3 different squads. So they had a squad for the fall season, for like football and stuff. And then they had a squad for the winter season for basketball and everything. And then a squad for like the spring sports. And they had to be different girls. Like they could not let any girl be on both squads or all three squads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really interesting to see that evolution from when I started high school to the end of high school.
In high school, they have JV and varsity. JV, I think, is more like freshmen and sophomores. And I think varsity is like
and that's how they
seniors.
Also got more girls to be in more squads, is because they also had JV and varsity squads for each season too.
But I think it also depends on your level of like knowing how to do it, because obviously with football they have JV and varsity, and I think obviously the kid I was just talking about with you, he's a sophomore, but I'm pretty sure he's in JV and varsity, or he's in varsity, one of the two.
Yeah, some sports, like if you're actually in the sport, so like for soccer, I was on varsity, but they let us choose if we also wanted to be on the JV team just to get more playtime in. So I know there was one year where I did do that. But me and one of the other girls that did that, because like we just loved playing. So we were like, well, yeah, we'll be on both. Like that'd be great. We actually caught a lot of flack for doing that, because the other varsity teammates were like, you really shouldn't be doing that in our opinion, because you're taking playtime away from the JV girls that could be in those positions that you're taking on the field during those games, and you're taking away like their opportunity to get better, because they're like, you're already on varsity, you're already good enough to do this. So it was ugh.
But at the same time, it shouldn't matter, because you playing has nothing to do with how well they perform.
Right. But I know like me and the other teammate, she was actually one of my best friends in high school. We only did it that one year because of all the flack that we got, because we were like, okay,
Crush out.
but yeah, so no, I was in varsity, honestly, in all the sports I did. I was just a really, really good runner. Like endurance was just my thing. So I was just fortunate that I made those cuts, I guess. But I kind of hung out with everybody too. And I think that's another thing we were talking about, like clicks. With your cheerleading stuff, was like the clickiness.
Yeah, that's something I really didn't like. If I'm being honest, besides like maybe two girls, because there is another girl I'm thinking of. I was really only really good friends with 2 of the girls, if I'm being honest, like really close friends, to where I can go to them and they wouldn't sit there running their mouth about me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I will say there's definitely like more clicks, and you can kind of tell that. But I feel like another thing is it's easier to make clicks when like you're in their cheer stunt all the time, because even though like they would like, because I went like just in one season, I was like in 4 to 5 different like groups of stunts.
Right.
So obviously they like switch you around, but it also like depends based on your height. But you can definitely tell they put the people who are more closer friends in that like stunt group.
Yeah.
And obviously like if you're doing it, because obviously I only did it for one whole season, but you obviously if you're doing it longer, they put the people who like are doing really well in one stunt instead of like having it as an even playing field.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the only time I think I got any kind of criticism, and I'm thinking of cross country. So my sister also did a lot of these sports. So
your parents had very athletic kids.
yeah. Well, we get it from our mom. So our mom was a runner. So we definitely get it honest. But yeah, so we obviously ran the same races when we were in cross country because we were both on varsity. And one race in particular, my sister had been in front of me for the majority of the race. And I adapt when I'm running a race. I like to adapt to the people in front of me. Like I get my own rhythm and my own comfort level.
I mean,
and
they say slow and steady wins the race.
Right. Like I have my own rhythm, but I will focus. If I know I have to pass someone else, I'll focus on the person in front of me and I will steal their pace. I will look at their legs and I'll start running the way they're running. I will start swinging my arms the way they swing their arms. I'll start adapting to the breathing I need to run at their pace. And then I'll like kind of adapt it more from there to speed up to pass them. And so that's how I would run my races is I would just be comfortable and I would watch my energy levels and I would adapt and kind of overcome. But I got to a point and it was like close to the end. I mean, we were really, really close to the finish line. The only other person in front of me at that point was my sister.
Girl, you're literally running out of breath thinking about it. I don't know if you guys can tell in her breathing. She's like,
but no, so, and people accused me of purposefully letting her win because I did not beat her. And so,
but I mean, she's older than you, so she has a lot more like energy and stuff like that. I feel like.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it was like towards the end of the race. So these races were like 2.5 miles. Yeah. And so, and I think everybody like saw me kind of like slowly picking off the other runners. And so they expected me to do the same thing with my sister. And
they thought you just slowed down to let her win.
They literally, because we were so close and I was actually really close. Like if I really, really pushed, I probably could have passed her. But I was so tired and I was like, oh, she's right there, but the finish line is right there. And I think at that point I had just reached my limit and it was like, you know what, if anyone's going to beat me, I'm glad it's my sister.
Right.
But I did
instead of some rando.
Yeah. So no, but that was like kind of the only criticism that I had with cross country was that people were like, you know, you purposely, you let your sister win. And it's like, no, I didn't. She won that fair and square.
Right.
But I know in track...
Well, maybe that's because, like, when a lot of people, like, go up, like, against their siblings, like, and their siblings win, it's like, oh, well, like, they cheated and stuff like that. And you weren't like that. You were like, no, like, she won fair
Yeah,
and square.
I was like, no, she beat me. Like, I mean, it's that simple. Like
you weren't being a sore loser about it. Yeah. Like, they expected you to be.
And, like, I know in cross, or not cross, track.
Okay. Speaking, since we're talking about sports, can you explain the difference between track and cross country?
Yeah, so cross country, you're literally just running like a 2.5 mile race. And track, you have different events. So you've got like long jump, you got shot put, discus, the high jump, pole vaulting. You've got, you know, the 100 meter, the 400 meter dashes, the mile run, the 2 mile run. And then you've got the team races. So like the 1600 meter where, you know, you've got a team of 4 and each person is running 1 lap around. But yeah, so I did.
Hold on.
Yeah. And you got hurdles. That's track. Yeah. And then you also have like the hurdle races. So, okay. All right.
Yeah. He does that. He does football and he does like wrestling.
Okay.
He's like you in high school. He does one.
Does
for
like
everyone.
yeah.
Well, that's because next year he wants to be on varsity and stuff.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
So he's gonna be on varsity for all the sports he's playing.
That'll be great. Yeah. But no, I know. Yeah. In track, I want to say, so like when I was a teenager, I actually got into a car accident and it had messed up my back and I had to like wear a back brace. I literally had to go to chiropractic therapy and stuff. Like, yeah.
Was this when you were, feel like you told me the story about this.
Well, I unfortunately,
but I thought you were a lot older.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been in a couple of car accidents. Never my fault, people. Literally,
No, a lot of every time you tell me about any car accident you have, it's always been like someone rear-ending you. Or
I know.
It's like,
I know.
on, watch how you're driving.
This was actually a lady ran a light and hit me. So I was literally like 16. I had just gotten my permit. I was on my way.
License?
No, permit. 16 permit. Or no, it was my license. Only back then up there, you could not have passengers in your car for like the first couple of months.
Yeah, but no, I'm just confused because you said permit and you were 16. Because normally you're 15 when you get your permit and 16 when you get your license.
I don't know. Honestly, I can't remember. But anyway, but this lady literally ran a light and hit me.
Of course they did.
Yeah. And so it was like, oh my gosh. So, but no, so for track, I mean, I still ran because I went to physical therapy too. And they were like, as long as you take it easy, wear your back brace, this and that, you'll be good. And I know my team, it was like a mutiny. And again, I was on varsity. And some of my friends had this other friend of theirs in a grade lower than us that really, for some reason, she was just diehard, wanted to do the 1,600 meter relay.
Explain please what that is.
So that's the one where that's a mile and that's a team of 4 and each person does 1 lap and then you transfer the baton to the other person within a set team. Right. So she really wanted to do that relay.
She wanted to run an entire mile?
No, just a lap. She would just be doing 1 lap of the mile. So
can't even walk 1 mile per hour. Oh my God.
But so, and what was really crappy about the situation was that my 2 friends, because it was our 2 friends and then me and my sister on that relay team. And they kind of went behind my back and talked to the coach and said, we don't think Kristen is good enough for the relay anymore.
Are
this
you
and
mean
that.
for reals?
Yeah.
Knowing you were better than
And even with my bad back and having to wear the back brace, guess who had the fastest time on the team?
You.
Me. So I was like, it's mutiny.
I'm
sabotage.
From the way you describe how you were on the team, it's like you could beat them in your sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the fastest in the distance running for sure.
Yeah. We literally talked in our last episode about how you were fast in volley or base or dodgeball.
Dodgeball, yeah. But no, and it was weird because my coach even called me over. And I was like, I wonder what this is about, because I saw the 2 friends kind of walking away from her, and then she called me over and I'm like, something seems off. And she's like, did you tell your team that you're okay with so-and-so taking your slot? And I was like, what? I was like, no, what's happening right now? And so my coach let me know what they had said. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. I was like, that's really disturbing, honestly. And she's like, well, if you did not okay it, then I'm not doing it. She's like,
clock that.
So, and this was actually at a meet. So they had actually done this while we were at a meet facing off against another team. So we went ahead, our event came up and we did the event. And the 2 friends got upset that I had ran and didn't let the other person run in my place. And it was funny, and it was like a small victory to me. But again, even with my back brace on and everything, guess who had the fastest time on our relay team at that meet?
You.
Me. The next fastest time was my sister. And then it was our two other friends. So it was like, well, look at that. It looks like if that other person wants to take anyone's slot, it needs to be one of those 2. So,
right.
So yeah, I think those were like probably the worst instances that I had with quote unquote teammates. Because the other sports I was in, like the soccer teams I was on, the basketball teams I was on, like I never really had any other, like any drama with people. It seems like all the other teams I was on, like everybody was pretty like copacetic.
That's really good for you. No, for me, I did find it so funny when they were like, everyone's replaceable. Can I read the messages? I'm just not going to say her name.
Sure. I don't mind. I do know that you said it was like really toxic and that like when you had decided not to go back, they got mad at you.
Yeah, it's because my brother and my sister, because my sister did cheer the season that I stopped.
Oh, okay.
So, but one of the ladies who we've known her for years, like my mom and her were like such good friends. Like I remember when her son was a teenager, like we would go over to her house and go swimming in her pool all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So like we were really close with her.
Yeah, really good friends.
But I remember her messaging me after I decided, like, you know, it wasn't for me and I didn't want to come back. Mm-hmm. So she messaged me. This is August 1st of 2023 at 9:05 p.m. Calling out the time.
I know, you're really wanting to call this out.
And so she was like, so if I talk to one of the people who like does like assigning like which group you go to.
Oh, okay.
Into putting you in my, first of all, she said tan instead of team. In my team, will you come and cheer again? I need a few more girls for my team, please. And then she obviously was like, said my name again.
Well, you know what? With all the money involved in cheer, because I mean,
if I'm not happy with it, it's not worth spending all that money just for
or
me.
your time and effort.
Yeah,
honestly,
time and effort.
Because you should always have fun and enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's what I even was telling one of my really good best friends, because it's funny because the guy that my mom was with at the time, because I told them later that day, because he came and got me from practice, and he was like, you just like look like you're miserable there.
Because you were.
Because at that time we were doing like tumbling and stuff. Like that's what we were practicing after doing like a couple stunts.
Oh, is that when you got hurt? Didn't you get hurt? Didn't someone like land on you? Some way or another.
That was a different time.
Okay.
This was supposed to be my second year.
Okay.
Second year. This was going to be my second season cheering, but I decided I didn't want to. We didn't sign any paperwork saying that they had me until the end of the season. Anyways, because that's always the thing that they try and get
if
you.
If people could see your face right now.
Because that's the thing that they always try and tell you, well, you signed a contract to be here. And it's like, no, I didn't. The season hasn't even fully started yet. So, no, I did not. Mm-hmm. And you can't say I signed anything because I cannot legally sign anything saying you have me till the end of the season.
Right.
That is all my mom's doing.
Yeah, you're like, talk to my mom.
Talk to my mom and get back to me.
Oh, goodness.
But no. And then, so it came to the weekend. Mind you, I just stopped showing up.
Yeah.
Like, but I already had told the coaches, I was like, honestly, I don't think I'm going to be returning.
Yeah.
And so I just like didn't show up, because obviously everybody knew, like everyone could tell that I was going to end up quitting. Because one of the practices, even one of the girls was like, you like look like you don't even want to be here.
Right.
Because listen,
did you look more miserable than how you look angry when you sing?
Can't say what I wanted to say to you right there. Well, because another reason I don't like this cheer team, a little backstory, is there was one time where I was like really sick and like I didn't know what I had. Honestly, I could have had COVID.
Right.
And I wouldn't have known. And I texted my coach. I was like, hey, like, you know, I'm really not feeling good. Mind you, we had competition like 3-4 weeks later. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I seriously am like so sick. Like, I genuinely don't feel good. She's like, well, this practice is mandatory, so just put on a mask and you have to show up or else you're off the team.
I'd be like, okay, see ya.
And I was like, and I went and I was like, she told me I had to go or else I'm off the team. And they're like, well, we already paid for competition, so you're going. It's like, excuse me. Mind you, my mom didn't say that. Her ex-boyfriend at the time said
or
that.
Whatever he was.
No, my mom was at work because my mom obviously was like working until
Right,
like 5 and practice. We had to be at practice at like 6, and so a lot of times my mom liked working a little bit later. But anyways, that was one of the reasons why like I really did not want to go. If you're not sitting there taking the fact that I'm sick.
No,
seriously,
like you should be resting. Yeah.
It's like, okay, so when all the other girls get sick right before a competition and you guys just wasted all that money.
And then no one can even go to competition because
like,
everybody's sick.
You can blame yourself and you can't put that on me.
Right.
But no, anyways, she like texted me that asking if I can come back to the cheer team. But no, so later that night,
after they told you were replaceable, right?
Yeah, they always told all of us we were all replaceable, and you can definitely. It's so funny because when they would be like, "Yeah, you guys are replaceable," all of them always looked at me. It's like, but it's so funny because you guys are the ones asking me to come back and everything, and wanting me to stay on the team.
That's so crazy. Honestly, it's just so crazy.
Crash out. They seriously need to see me crash out because I'm just.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know, I was just thinking, because since we were kind of talking about how you need to enjoy what you're doing, one of the more fun times I had playing volleyball, because I did it in middle school. I couldn't do it in high school because they literally made me choose between soccer or volleyball. And even though I love volleyball, I chose soccer. But no, so I was in a sorority in college. Oh, God. And we did a lot of like fundraising events for the Children's Miracle Network. And so we would partner with,
I have something to say about fundraising after this.
Other fraternities.
Well, actually, after I finish my story.
And one of the fundraising events we went to was like a volleyball tournament between, the sororities and fraternities. And that was so much. I had such a blast at that event. It was so great. And I know like one of the fraternities that one of my friends was in, they actually had a sand volleyball court at their house. So it was always fun playing, sand volleyball with everybody. But okay, what were you going to say about fundraising?
So, well, obviously I had to finish my story first. You interrupted me.
Okay, sorry.
So basically, later that night I had one of my best friends over, and we've been friends for so long. So it's like she had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't want to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And he straight up told me, just because she's here doesn't mean you're going to sit here and quit the team. Our family's not quitters.
What?
And it's like, and I was like, she has nothing to do with the fact that I want to quit. Because I was sitting there talking to her about it. She's like, well, if you're not enjoying doing it, like maybe go for a little bit like longer. And if you don't want to do it, like don't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And she's like, but if you like seriously want to do it, do it.
Yeah.
Because she knew how badly I wanted to cheer before I even started cheering. Because like I was trying to convince my mom for so long that I wanted to do it.
Right.
And
you did it, and you changed your mind.
I changed my mind.
Like, never mind, this isn't for me.
And I was like, no, like this isn't. Why am I going to waste all this money and stuff when I don't see myself pursuing cheerleading?
Of course, yeah.
But no, fundraising. I'm sorry. This team. I'm sorry. Danger.
Oh.
When we did fundraising, we were like, it was over the bridge. So we were in like, I don't even know what area. We were on the streets fundraising.
What?
Like stoplights and stuff. Red lights, green lights. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
But no, it's to the point where there was people running in the middle of like,
oh wow,
what's it called? The median?
The little medians.
Yeah, that's where a lot of them were and stuff too. And then
wow.
they would have you running across the street and stuff during like the red lights and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so
weird. And in the middle of the road, both the lights green and people are going.
Oh my god!
And it's like that is. I'm sorry, that's dangerous for like anybody.
No, like you're supposed to like contact organizations like stores, because I know whenever we go shopping at one of the big box stores, there's always like cheerleading teams or like Girl Scouts or something set up with like a table by the front door.
I'm sorry.
And it's like, do you want to buy this today or give us your money today? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I need it right now.
I'm sorry, but my mom bought these s'mores popcorn.
Oh my god, yeah, the popcorn. She spent like $30 on it. $25 on one bag of popcorn.
But it was so good and it was so funny.
Oh my goodness. And wasn't that for like the Boy Scouts?
Yeah, it was Boy Scouts that they were doing, but it was so good. But no, that's how our fundraising was. Not only did like obviously your parents like post it like online to where you like are raising money, but yet they would have you in the middle of the road, like doing fundraising.
That's a little absurd, honestly. Now, I know, like, when the boys' schools do things, like, they actually give you links now to where you can post it online and people can just, like, you know, do everything from there.
Well, I guess it kind of worked because we made, like, a good, I want to say, couple $100 past our goal.
I mean, that's good,
it's
I
like,
wouldn't be wanting my kid in the middle of a road that's got traffic going on it.
It wasn't worth, like, what could have happened. Like, because what if there was a car accident that happened and a car just goes flying?
Right. Yeah. Be mindful, people.
I seriously wonder, I might have to ask my mom if, like, they told the parents, like, that's the type of fundraising.
I highly doubt it, because honestly, if I were to be told that, like, if my sons were in an organization and I was told, oh, this is how we're going to be fundraising, I'd be like, no.
Nope.
No. My kids are precious to me.
So I'm definitely gonna have to ask my mom.
But
that.
I think
did you just steal my daily burp?
I think we're gonna end the show here, and then
we're not a show, we're a podcast.
Again, interchangeable, man, interchangeable.
No.
But anyway, guys, so feel free, check out our website at adocpodcast.com.
Wait, let us know if you want us to do a part 2, because I have a lot more stories to say.
Yeah, we do have a contact page on our website. Please feel free to give us any ideas or topics, and then also check out our
social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, ADOC Podcast.
All right, guys, we will see you next time.
Bye.